Hey everybody, Knick-Knack here, and it's been a while since I made a proper video. Usually, I would make the same excuse like always, with being busy, with school, and other stuff, but I'm not going to because I've been streaming a lot lately, and that of course would make me a hypocrite. If anything, I apologize for not keeping up with the people I subscribe to, so sorry about that. Anyway, if anybody knows, Soul Calibur 6 has been finally announced, and believe it or not, I am a huge fan of the franchise. When the guy at the Game Awards next to Harada said, "Is your soul still burning?" I was screaming with excitement. Now even though I'm happy to see a new entry, at the end of the day, I need to keep my excitement to a minimum. Because of course, I cannot deny, 5 was extremely disappointing. Now as you see from the title, this video is going to talk about what I want from the game. Like I did a similar vid like this to the Persona dancing game announcements, I thought I'd do the same here because there are a fair share of things that could be improved upon. Unlike that video however, I'm just going to show a bunch of video clips and pictures rather than face the camera because it's much easier for me. So, here's a list of 5 things, and if Namco Bandai were smart, they would follow these things because I want Soul Calibur to be as amazing as it was compared to like before with the first few games in the series. The first thing I want to talk about is the story. From what it looks like, Namco Bandai is looking to make the game a prequel or reboot, as Mitsurugi and Sophitia are looking pretty young from the trailer. I'm actually okay with this because I miss seeing some characters in 5, especially my girl Taki and my boy Yun Sung. Now getting into what I personally want, this might sound dumb, but I really hope they pull a Mortal Kombat 9 with this game, and that the reason why they're taking it back is to warn the characters to fix the past. I don't really care who's the Raiden of this game or how it works, but from a personal standpoint, I think this is the right way to go. Speaking of NetherRealm, if Namco Bandai were smart, they would make a story mode structured just like the NetherRealm games. Because as much as people shit on NetherRealm, they make the best story modes when it comes to fighters. Or, if worst comes to worst, if they can't make the quality of it like that, I wouldn't mind seeing the story mode be in the style of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, in the sense that each fight has you play a different character or two, and fight someone or something different once in a while. Like switch up. Just don't make the narrative discombobulated like in Infinite though, because that story mode sucked, although it was a nice attempt at making one. Either one of these two would be a wise decision. The main takeaway from this part is that I don't want the story mode to be like 5, because man did that one suck. The next thing I'd like to talk about that they should do is to give us various modes of play, both single and multiplayer. The modes I want are things that have been included into past games, and they have all worked so well that there's really nothing to delve deeply into. With that being said, I'll just mention a few briefly and why they need to be there. Story is something I already mentioned. Arcade mode needs to be a general 7 opponents and 1 boss fight mode, with the character endings being a must. Character creation is also a must, and if it means recycling the formula from Soul Cal 5, then I'm okay with that. Or any Soul Calibur game after 2, because all the character creation modes were actually good. Online should be your standard stuff that's in every fighter today. Of course, we need a spectator mode to go along with that online. Local versus mode is something that needs no introduction, but like some games, I'd like to see the option to face a CPU or see two CPUs fight. I thought Quick Battle from 5 was good, and I'd like to see that return. And last but not least, please bring back Team Battle, because I really love that game mode in all fighters, be it Soul Cal, Tekken, or even non-Namco games like Virtua Fighter or Dead or Alive. Overall, I know these sound like way too much, but they were really great modes, and it keeps you occupied. Thing number 3 that I'd like to talk about is characters. As from the trailer, we already know that Mitsurugi and Sophitia are playable, but who else do I want to see? Since I believe this takes place around Soul Blade and Soul Calibur 1, I think they might as well just take every character from Soul Cal 1, except for Inferno and Edgemaster, and include them with new designs of course. As for new characters, there was this new revealed Dual Blade character, but I can't really say much on him because we really know nothing about him. As for new characters other than that, I'd like to see a new Mimic Fighter, a dual baton character in the style of Nightwing or Daredevil, and I know I might be reaching for straws here, but I'd like to see Talon return, or a character that's like a friend or relative to her. Anybody that knows me knows how I am with my Pinoy pride and shit, so yeah, that's why. But personally, no matter what new characters are added, I'm open to them, since Namco fighters do really have some great characters. I just really hope, however, that the character roster isn't small. Speaking of characters, some of you might be wondering why I didn't mention any guests. Well, reason being of course is that's the next part of this video. Guest characters that will work. First off, some rules I'd like to set down is that the character needs to fit, no returning guest characters, and I'd like to see exclusive characters for each. Also, these aren't characters I personally wish for, but I'm just gonna name characters that would just fit overall. Mainly because my wish list is different and I could go on and on about it. Now to begin, I'd like to first talk about the Xbox One, and that system has a game with all sorts of characters that wield weapons that would definitely fit. Of course, I'm talking about Killer Instinct. As for who would be in the game, I'd like to see Orchid. Sure, Jago's the protagonist, and Fulgore is the game's most memorable character, but I'd say Orchid, because she too is memorable, and I personally think we need a female guest character in Soul Cal. It might sound dumb, but that's just me. Getting into PC, although I have little experience with the series, when thinking about who would fit on this system, I think Geralt from The Witcher is the best choice, due to the first two games originating on the PC, and The Witcher 3 quite possibly being the best game of 2015 to many. From what I know, he'd work as his fighting style is not too over the top, and that's pretty much what I have to say. Lastly is the PS4, and like Geralt, this character is someone from a series I have no experience with, and that's the Hunter from Bloodborne. I know for a fact that From Software RPGs are slow and tactical, and that wouldn't work for the Bloodborne Hunter, but I can see him being a heavy weapon user like Astaroth or Siegfried. Seeing him swing that saw cleaver with force in the game sounds like something the aforementioned characters would do. Now personally, there are tons as I said again, but because of time, and because it would be another good video topic in the future, I'll only name those three. The fifth and final thing I want to see happen is simple, and that of course is no DLC bullshit. Not gonna go delve into this too much, but you guys will already know what I'm talking about when it comes to this. Basically, I want no on this DLC, no pre-order now to get costumes and characters, no Battlefront 2 or Shadow of War fiasco crap, and all those things are killing gaming. You know, just in general. If you're gonna do DLC, the only things that should happen are new characters for $5 each because that's a fair price, and of course they need to be made straight out scratch once the game is already released. Just start making them. No on this stuff, you know what I mean, right? And also I'd just like to see small cosmetics here and there that like cost around $1 to $10, depending on where it's a pack or an item. I know I shouldn't be wishing for much because there's a chance that I'll jinx myself, but if Namco Bandai was smart, they wouldn't pull an EA or WB Games on these people. So that's all I have to say for what I think should happen for Soul Calibur 6. Some of you are probably like, why don't you talk about gameplay too much? Well, from what it looks like the gameplay, it's standard Soul Calibur, and personally, I always thought the Soul Calibur series had some good gameplay. So, as you know that saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Worked with Tekken really well, works with Soul Calibur really well. But in terms of gameplay, yeah, I can't really say much because I always liked it. And that's all I have to say for this video. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching, take it easy, and until next vid.